2 shots at the girl. Oh my god. What was that damage? And that was, oh my, yeah. 1. This guy has fire resistance. So that was 44. 44 because it was a critical, so that doubled everything. Then the second roll was 22 fire damage, and then 35 and 21 and 25 and 13. So plus all of those for each attack. Hello and welcome to another video of our series covering my favorite builds for Baldur's Gate 3. So let's start with Fire Sorcerer. By the way, you can find the link to this spreadsheet in my Discord channel. It's linked below. It's actually, let me just show it right here. If you go into my Discord server, you can find it in the link spreadsheets. It's in this one, patch 5. So I have all my links here for all the spreadsheets that I do. So let's get straight to it. Today we're talking about the level progression with some possible dips, the stats, feats that we're going to be taking, itemization, and combos. We're going to go through all of that. So let's get straight to the bread and butter of the build. So overview of the build. You can go pure sorcerer with this build. I almost never go pure, guys. So the fact that I'm considering going pure, this is a very unique event in our channel. The reason why I'm considering the pure build is because you get the additional feats. And these additional feats are really, really good for our build. You can alternatively get, instead of going for 12 levels of Draconic Sorcerer, and you go for Fire Draconic Sorcerer so that you get the extra damage. You can also get 2 levels of Fighter for the action surge, so that's going to give you an additional burst of an additional cast of your spell. Or you can go for a level in Wizard and go for an intelligence build, and that's going to give you access to more spells or a variety of other spells, etc. So Draconic Bloodline, we go for that subclass of sorcerers, and we either want to go for red, gold, or brass type. I would recommend going for gold because this guy itself is a ritual and you can always cast it for free. Stats, I would max out Charisma, Constitution second, then 14 points in Dexterity, and the rest you can put wherever you want. If you plan to take a level in Wizardry, you should definitely be putting points in prioritizing Intelligence over the rest. Level 2 are Distant and Twin spells. At level 3, you get Scorching Ray, and this is going to be the spell that we're going to be casting the most. It's going to be doing so much damage, so definitely pick that one. And I do recommend going for Quicken Spell. Then for level 4, we get our first feat. Now at this point, I would get Spell Sniper, and I would also learn Misty Step. Level 5, I would always get Fireball, and you pretty much don't need the rest other than counter spells. So I would probably give up Chromatic Orb since we have Scorching Ray now, and get counter spell. And at level 6 Sorcerer, we get this ability right here, Elemental Affinity Damage. When you cast a spell that deals damage of the type associated with your Draconic ancestry, you may add your Charisma modifier to the damage. This is huge. Level 8, we get another feat, Dual Wielder. That's gonna increase your damage even more, because you're gonna be able to hold 2 staves. Then at level 9, you get another Sorcerer level again. Now you get Hold Monster and Dominate Person, so you want both. I would replace one of my other spells, probably Slow or Confusion, into Dominate Person. And then at level 10, Heightened Spell you don't really need, but it's always good to have it, to be honest. For the final 2 levels, you can either go 2 levels of Fighter to get the action surge, or 2 more levels of Sorcerer to get your alert feat. I will go for Fighter because I just want to do more damage. Into itemization. The most important item, the one item that you cannot skip, is this one right here, Heart of Fire Acuity. You get this from the Ox, but only if you kill it in Act 2 or 3. If you kill it in Act 1, you don't get this. So make sure to not kill the Ox if you want to play this build in the Grove. Kill it later on down the line. If you don't kill it, you don't get it. So you have to kill the Ox. And I would recommend going for a risky ring if you can get that in Act 3. And Cinder Shoes. Those are the core items of the build, in my opinion. And you can get the Spell Sparkler, and Dual will deal with Marco Heshkir. And to add extra damage, Spellmite Gloves, Callous Glow Ring, for the extra 2 damage per ray, which we're going to be shooting a bunch of rays. For amulets, if you're playing Gale, you don't need this amulet of greater health. Otherwise, I would recommend going for that one. I just don't see any other amulets being anywhere near as useful. For bows, I would go for the Deadshot to increase your chance to crit. For cloaks, definitely Cloak of the Weave. You could go for the cloak of the Dark Urge to get the invisibility if you want to play the game solo. For armors, again, I haven't found anything really useful for armors, so I would just wear probably Helldusk to be able to fly if I didn't have that. And yeah, overall, nothing really exciting for me. Anything that boosts your DC, maybe, that also works. If you don't want to go down the Hat of Fire Acuity, there's also this other really cool hat, Pyro Quickness Hat, which is going to give you an extra bonus action whenever you deal fire damage. That's good, but I think this is so much more reliable and so much more consistent. And you're going to see why, because we're not only going to be dealing damage, we're actually going to be very good at doing crowd controls. So if you want to see how to make infinite sorcery points, I'll put a link in the video right here, and you can watch that video. It works in honor mode as well, by the way. Okay, so right now I have 22 sorcery points. What I can do is I can create a bunch of 7 level spell slots and use a potion of health reprieve, not slander. And when I wake up, my spell slots are going to be refilled. So that's one way to do it. And if you make 100 level 2 spell slots every time you take one of these potions, you're getting 100 level 2 spell slots. But that only resets your first level spell slots. Additionally, what you can do is you can use the amulet. So spell summon amulet right here. Put it here. As you see, when I wear it, I get an extra 7 level spell slot, then you take it off, and you put it back on, you break the spell slot, and you keep that going. You can do that and get a lot of sorcery points, and just stack them up and then use them to make level 5 spell slots. That's how I would do it if I wanted to do level 5s with this build. Alternatively, you can just play the game normally and just use all your spell slots until they're not, and there's long rest. That also works. It's not a necessity to do that, it's just an amplifying damage and just availability, and basically you don't need this build a lot stronger. Okay, so once you've made enough spell slots, level 5 spell slots, and enough sorcery points, you're good to go. Third run, Spellmite Gloves ability, and we're good to go with the Start of the Days buff. Always do Kershka's Favor, and I would recommend either going for Bolts of Doom, because that's going to give you a lightning charge. It says 1, but it actually gives 2. Or go for Flame of Wrath, and that's actually going to give you proficiency bonus to your fire damage. So I will go for this one. We can spend 1 sorcery points to get resistance to fire damage. Why not? We have so many sorcery points and it lasts until long rest, so it's actually pretty good. And you see, we also get other free casts. So if you want to go down the non-infinite sorcery points route, you can always use these abilities. Tadpole Abilities, I would definitely recommend getting Cull the Weak. That's going to boost your damage significantly. Effectively, I would get everything if possible, because it works very well with Cull the Weak. And free cast is huge. The most important one after Cull the Weak is Psionic Overload. And if you have successfully went through the Zaythisk, you get this ability. Allows you to use, effectively what it does, it allows you to use illicit abilities as a bonus action. And that's huge. And why is that big? Because it allows you to do Cull the Weak if you have to do it during combat as a bonus action. So that's the build. Those are the items. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. If you like the content, drop a like, drop a subscribe, and let's go check this out in a combat encounter. Okay, let's talk about combos. So what you can do is you can equip your secondary character, Falara Luv. If you're going to be using a character to run around and hit your enemies, you should be using this oil right here. You should be coating their their weapon with Arsonist Soil. This, if you're ever fighting an enemy with fire resistance, you should use this, Arsonist Oil. If you can prepare for combat, what I would do is drink a potion of speed. You don't want to be concentrating on haste, because you actually can concentrate on really big crowd control spells. So why concentrate on haste if you don't have to? Okay. So what I will do with this character is do Falara Luf Shriek and Oil of the Arsonist. Code weapon. So this is my secondary character. This could be your fighter, it could really be any character you want. So we're gonna be a bit optimistic here, and we're gonna say that we're actually gonna have a turn to do Psionic Overload. And I want to buy a turn, basically. That's what I want to do. So let's move over there. Yeah, perfect. Now this guy, we want to make sure he doesn't die. So what I'm going to do is have him drink a potion of invisibility. Perfect. Okay, now so what will our turn look like? We have, let's add up everything. We have an extra action from being hasted. We have a regular action. We will use our action surge, and we'll get a fourth action from Elixir of Bloodlust. Then we have our bonus action, which we can also use to cast a spell. So let's start with Scorching Ray. Now we have Synaptic Power on, yeah, and the most important thing, we're going to be stacking Arcane Acuity. So just watch the first one. The first shot you're going to be doing, I would recommend not necessarily having Spellmite Gloves on, because that will decrease your chance to hit by a little bit. So I'm still gonna keep it on though, because 94% is not that bad, and I'm gonna throw 3 shots at him and 2 shots at the girl. Oh my god. What was that damage? And that was, oh my, yeah. And we've just begun. So as you can see, we also get +5 because that's our charisma modifier. Because our charisma is 20, we didn't put any points in it, but we got +1 from Anti-Ethel and +1 from Bart's Memory. So we're at 20, flat 20. And that's just our first action. Now, as you can see, we just got 10 stacks of Arcane Acuity from that. So what does that mean? It means now that we have a plus. Oh, and we can also turn on our hit convergence, because we also stack 7 stacks of hit. So if we use hit convergence right now, the next time we deal fire damage, we deal additional fire damage according to our hit stacks. How many stacks of hit can you have? I'm not sure. So we will use hit convergence now, and we're gonna burst out our fire spells. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3. To be honest, I think 3 is maybe a little bit too many. Okay, let's look at the damage. Okay, so it was 31 damage for the first Scorching Ray. It was 31 fire damage, 1 lightning because of the lightning charge, 4 psychic, 10 thunder, 4 fire, 1 lightning, 1 psychic. So effectively, hit is being used as DRS. And as you can see, the Spellmite Gloves increase our damage, and +7 because we have 7 turns of hit. So this is the type of damage you expect to do. This is a lot of damage, and that's 1 action, right? It's about 200 damage per action, approximately. And somebody tried to counterspell us. Going. So you see, we killed something, we get an extra action with Elixir of Bloodlust, so now we can do it 3 more times. So you can also quicken Let's use hit convergence again. And let's do 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, and 1. This guy has fire resistance. As you can see, they die really, really fast because we are using this ability right here, Call the Weak. So if they fall below 30 HP, they instantly die. So that was 44. 44 because it was a critical, so that doubled everything. Then the second roll was 22 fire damage, and then 35, and 21, and 25, and 13. So plus all of those for each attack. So that's how it's going. You could also, guys, use an upcasted fireball if the enemies were being grouped up. And this guy has 0% chance to save because we have 10 stacks of arcane acuity. Alternatively, what you could have done is you can use Hold Person as a level 5 spell slot after you use one round of Scorching Ray. So let me bring up the Excel sheet. Do Scorching Ray once, and then you can use one crowd control spell and then continue throwing damage. And that effectively is going to make it even more than... like, if you are within 5 feet of anybody who's paralyzed, you automatically crit on your attacks. So you can get auto crits that way. But you do have to give up on some attacks. So I think we can kill her with two rays. Now this guy is resistant to our attacks. So let's see how he's gonna fare. So even yeah, she died, of course. Let's go down to the latest. So this is the thing that killed her. But then, as you can see, we even have low ground and we're getting 99% chance to hit. Of course he died. And let's look at the damage that he took. And he's resistant to our fire. Yeah. So that's pretty good damage, I would say. And yeah, that's how the build works. It's actually really, really, really fun to play. Again, when you're fighting someone that has immunity to fire damage, you might run into a little bit of a problem. But again, you have lightning charges. You could even have magic missile. It's not going to do as much damage, but that would be in a situation where you cannot use your fire spells. But overall, it's such a strong build. It has the heat buff. It has the Sorcerer buff. So everything is adding damage to each Scorching Ray that you're shooting, and you're shooting out so many of them. You can also use AoE, like Fireball, to do a lot of damage. But yeah, this is the build. It looks really cool as well when you get into the heat convergence. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.